Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's evening time here. I believe in Pakistan it's beginning to be morning, and for some people it is afternoon. This is Carla of Rehan's World of Connections, and I am here today to speak to Ammara Nawaz Khan, and we're going to talk about her life, her work, and her passions. And she's a very, very interesting lady. This show, like all of my shows, is sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace one conversation at a time. Having said that, Ammara, could you please introduce yourself?
All right. So, hello everyone, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Ammara, like Carla said, Ammara Nawaz Khan, and I am originally from Lahore, Pakistan, and I was raised and brought up there. I spent my 24 years in Pakistan, and then I came here, and it's been from last 21 years I have been here, and um, by profession, by training, I am a chemist and a biologist, but I work in academia. So I am working with the community college system of New Hampshire as a professor of chemistry, and also I teach in a nursing school, which is affiliated with the hospital, our local hospital, and I teach in the nursing program as an anatomy and physiology instructor. I have two kids, wonderful kids. I don't know what I did in my life so good that I ended up with such good kids because I was a handful and when I was growing up. So now being a mother myself, I can feel the pain that I put my parents through. But anyways, that's another story. So long story short, I am
Actually, that's an important story to tell too, but go on.
yeah, and I just I'm very curious person. I think of myself as a student for life. I'm a seeker. I love to live life and extract the the essence of from a moment. I love to travel. I do photography. I sing. I write. I paint. I cook. My son just said she's a good singer.
Good
Uh,
son, he knows what to
yeah,
say.
yeah, and then you didn't hear the second sentence he said. He said, even though I don't understand what she sings, but she's a good singer.
Ah, does that mean you sing in Urdu or?
Yes, so since I spent most of my, early years, all my basic brought up was in Lahore and Pakistan, Lahore, Pakistan, and Lahore being a very cultural city. I was exposed to classical Indian music, and I grew up listening to all those maestros of classical Indian music. So yeah, I listen to that kind of music. I sing that kind of music as well. So my son cannot sometimes understand what I'm trying to say musically, but he has this sense of understanding music. So he can tell me that yes, I was, if I was out of rhythm or if I was out of tune or something like that. So yeah, he enjoys, and they have watched me and they have heard me singing, so
Do you sing often, like in the shower, or do you sing?
so I used to sing in during my school days, and then even in college I kept my my passion of music and singing. But then when I got married, somehow for the next couple of years, I mean almost a decade or more, I was kind of mute. So I was away from music because I was raising a family. I had two kids. Things change when you get married. Your priorities change. It's now from past couple of years now that I am on my own and I have the freedom to live my life the way I want to live. I have reclaimed that lost part of myself, and I have found music to be therapeutic. It was always therapeutic for me, but even more so now, because I think at this age of my life, at this stage of my life, I have developed this appreciation of these finer arts, I would say, the music and poetry and words and languages and travel. So yeah, I mean, I sing. Sometimes when I'm in a mood, I will go live on my Facebook profile and I will sing a couple of songs, or I will do a recording. I have an app that I can get audio tracks on, and I can do a recording over there, and I share those recordings on my profile. So yeah, occasionally I do. Yeah.
Cool. Do you sing? Well, I guess you wouldn't sing at the mosque because of the how it's set up.
Yeah, no, mosque is a different story. Singing is not allowed in our mosques.
Oh,
We do
really?
have, yeah, we do have, like you can have qawwalis, a form of music, a genre of music where it's more devotional poetry. And it's done by male singers, and most of them are folk singers, so they can go on shrines and on shrines of saints and pious people, and they can then have those kind of musical concerts. But in mosques, no singing is allowed in mosques,
I
other
didn't.
than the praise of Allah and the praise of Prophet Muhammad.
So, excuse my
Hmm.
ignorance in some of these questions because I don't know much about mosques.
Hmm.
But do you sing at all in the like if you're praising Allah or the prophets? Is there any music involved in that?
No, no, not at all. No music, no instrument, no music,
Oh,
no singing.
okay. You're talking to someone who isn't very aware of that at
Yeah, yeah.
all.
No, I'm going to, be very blunt about it. Yeah, no, there are sects in our in Islam where they think that music is altogether banned. I mean, it's not allowed. It's taboo. It's actually haram is the term that they use. That music is haram, and so so yeah, no, there's no music in our mosques.
Oh, okay. So then,
Mm.
is there music? Is music allowed as part of Islam, or is it?
Well, it depends on who you are talking to. I, being myself a progressive, liberal kind of a person, and I was brought up, like I said, in a very cultural city, and my parents were broad-minded, and I come from an educated family. My father has a great voice. He still sings sometimes. And So I was not told not to sing or not to listen to music. But then there are people who would not allow that for their children, or who would not appreciate anyone who decides to either adopt it as a profession or pursue it as a career. So it depends on who you talk to. There are some people who would absolutely tell you to your face that no, music is not allowed in Islam. But for me, it's I don't see any problem with that.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
you're giving me. We're not talking religion. You're actually
Mm-hmm.
teaching me something that I never knew because I.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, you guys, don't you chant the call to prayer? Isn't that sort of music?
Yes. Well, it is without any instrument. So the azan, that the call for the prayer that is not played on a music. It's just a very musical. It's a very moving chant. It is, but music itself, the music that is usually perceived, is considered inappropriate.
Now, so there's no real chanting except for the call for prayer.
call for prayer, or if somebody is singing, like praising Allah or praising Prophet Muhammad, so we call them as hamd and naat. Those are the two types of recitations that you will hear. Sometimes there are singers who only sing and who in those ways. So I mean, they will only sing praises for Allah and for Prophet Muhammad. They would not sing any other kind of songs, no romantic songs or nothing else like that. So there are people who will then sing with music, and then there are people who will not choose any music as their background. So again, like I said, it's a
Yeah,
huge spectrum. It depends on who you are talking to. You'll probably get 101 different kind of answers to this question, Carla.
it's interesting though
Yes,
because
it is.
it's a complete. I'm learning about Islam slowly but
Mm-hmm.
surely, and talking to so many Pakistanis,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it it's really a different. It's different from what I know of when it comes to
Yeah.
Judaism. I know that
Yeah.
in the synagogue where my parents took me when I was a kid, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
there would be chanting by a cantor who was the singer of a congregation, but there
Mm-hmm.
was no music and songs. The synagogue that I have been involved with recently,
Mm-hmm.
the rabbi sings through many of the services. There's much
Yeah.
singing. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
completely different way of looking at looking at religion or the religious experience.
Yes.
So I don't know. You're teaching.
It And for a common person like me, it's very confusing because since we were part of India, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, we were all one
Yeah,
country before 1947, and the culture of Southeast Asia is uh, has always had music as an integral part. So when the partition happened and when Pakistan was made, somehow the religious factors um, predominated, and somehow they started this whole idea of music not being allowed, or it's not good. Um, so for a common person who has been brought up in a normal, or like my father or my grandfather, for them music was no big deal you know but then suddenly, if 30, 40 years later, I start to see that no, it's no, it's a no, no. And um, there are threats, or people are condemned, or people are threatened if they do so. So it's difficult. It's difficult for a common person to make sense of what to do and what not to do, especially when there is such a conflict. But things have changed a lot. Because of this digital world and all the media and the access to information, and people have changed a lot. So I'm sure it's been quite a while since I was back home. It's been 9 years that I went back. And from what I see from social media, is that things have changed a lot. But then again, just like people have become more open-minded, there is a group of people who have become even more conservative. So, uh, so you got to hear on the social media, you got to hear both voices, the both extremes, and you just have to find a middle ground. And I'm so glad that I'm here, and I don't have to wiggle my way or find my way through all that confusion, because being here in this country has given me the opportunity to live my life with complete freedom. And I don't feel threatened at all, in terms of my safety, in terms of that there are no restrictions on my thought process. Nobody's pulling my leg. Being a single divorced mother, nobody's pointing finger at me. In fact, I have seen people appreciating me for what I have gone through and the struggles that I have gone through in my life to be where I am right now.
Now, have you had any problems? You had told me that you are recently divorced, or is it a
It's
while?
been I got separated in 2014, and after my separation, my survival was my priority. So I didn't even file for divorce for the next 3 years, because I mean, first I didn't have the time, nor the money, nor the resources to do it. I didn't have any family over here, and at that moment I had to take care of myself and my two kids. Find a place, find a job. So the next 3 years were kind of very hectic because I worked almost three jobs, 24/7 with no days off. I would work as a substitute teacher. I worked in a school where, I mean, I have two masters. I have a master's in organic chemistry and I have a master's in biotechnology. So I was a highly qualified person, but yet I was working as a teacher aide because I couldn't find a job where I was in northern New Jersey. And then on my weekends, I used to be a sales associate at Kohl's. So I worked at first at Carter's for 2 years, and then I moved to Kohl's. And there were times when things were so rough that I had to. I had a Polish friend who was a housekeeper, and I used to go with her, and I would clean houses with her, and she would pay me on the hourly basis. So yeah, I mean, I have seen tough times. And I was waiting for my daughter to finish middle school so I can move out from that area and move to a place where I can find a job based on my skill set. So I decided to move into the New England area, to Boston, because number one, there are so many. It's like, every block has a college here. There, and one of the nation's best educational institutes are here, in New England area, in Boston, Massachusetts, in New Hampshire, and in Connecticut. So I decided to move up here, and I started looking for jobs. And I was fortunate to be called for an interview, and I started. They offered me one course here in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's like a border city, 45 minutes north of Boston. And at that time, I was living in New Jersey, and it was a summer course. And I commuted, Carla, every week. I commuted from New Jersey to New Hampshire, 4-hour drive each way to teach two classes, my lecture and my lab in New Hampshire. I would stay here one night, and then I would go back to New Jersey.
How did your kids handle that?
Well, since it was summer and the summer they were with their father, so I had the time. And on the weekends, so the kids were with me Monday to Friday, and then when I would go to work on the weekends, the kids would spend the weekend with their father. So this is how it worked for all of us. And when I was commuting here for 3 days during the summer, the kids were with their father during the summer. Yes. So for 3-4 days they would stay with their father. Yeah, we were only like 10 minutes. When I started looking for a place for my own self and for my kids, I decided to stay closer, because number one, I didn't want my school, my kids' school to be changed. I kept things as constant for them as possible. And even though the school knew that I was not living in the town, they were so cooperative because of my what I have gone through and everything else, that they overlook the fact that the kids are in the next town, and they let me keep the kids in that school district.
What? Okay, you can tell me you don't want to answer this, but what made you decide to separate from your husband?
um like I said, mentioned earlier, he we were it was an arranged marriage for both of us, and we didn't get to talk to each other before getting married. It was a thing which was done, arranged by our families, and we just saw each other before. At least I think 2 days or 3 days before getting married, we saw each other. We didn't even speak with each other. He was a good person. He still is. I mean, I don't I have no hard feelings, because when I left, I cleaned my heart. I mean, I erased all the negativity from my heart. Um, But it was just that we were just two very different people, and it's very hard to live with someone that you cannot communicate with. There is no compatibility, or there is no chemistry, or there is no common values or common core values. And I was just getting unhappy over a period of time, to a point where um, I just lost the desire to live, and to yeah, simply put, I was about to give up. And um and then my kids were getting older, and I didn't want my daughter and my son to see that this is normal, like this kind of relationship is normal. I mean, I know in our culture, people, or couples normally believe that, no matter what, you can fight with each other, you can, be nasty to each other, treat each other as shit, but don't get a divorce, because, it's not good for kids. Well, studies have shown that kids who are raised in a high conflict environments are more prone to be disturbed than kids who are not in that conflict anymore. So, well, I mean, stuff after 17 years of marriage, um, I decided that, it's time for me to stand up for myself and for my kids, and because I don't want to normalize this for my kids. I owe it to myself. I owe it to them. Um, so I walked out.
Wow. So it was your decision to walk
It was
out.
mine. Yes, it was.
Did he resist it at all, or did it go
Um,
easily?
well, I guess, he knew that his resistance is not going to work. Um, and it was too late. Um, it was too late for me to have any kind of, you know, um, no, I mean, it was too late for both of us to go back and start something. And because, see, Carla, you have to have some kind of connection that can hold you together, and then you can go through the ups and downs. I unfortunately never found that kind of support, the moral support, um, throughout this time, and I always felt that I am the one sitting behind the driving seat. The feeling of being taken care of, the feeling of being loved, or the feeling of being that you have someone that you can rely on. I never felt that. And I was getting tired. It's too much of a responsibility. I am a very independent person, and I like to take charge of things, and I am kind of a leader, in a sense that I can solve the problems. I love that part of about myself, that I I have this motto right from the beginning, that there is no such thing as a dead end. To me, dead end never exists. It does not exist. It's something that is non-existent. So, but then again, at the end of the day, I'm also a woman.
Right.
Um, yeah, yeah. So I think 17 years was enough time to pay my dues, and uh, after that I said to myself, you know what, it's time for me to be free, and to live my life, and to live an honest life. An honest life is one in which you are what you are. You are not putting up a face. You are not showing the world that, oh, no, 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 our marriage is a perfect marriage. Everything is hunky dory, everything is fine. When inside you are unhappy, and you are broken, and you are devastated, and you are just putting up a face for the rest of the world. I was tired of that. I just got tired of doing that. I cannot live a double-faced life.
Do
I'm
you
not saying I'm an angel. I'm not saying I'm a perfect person. No, I made my mistakes, and I own my mistakes, and I learned from them. But then again, for me, it was uh, I just couldn't deal with the hypocrisy.
do you think that if you were in Pakistan, you would have stayed married?
I sometimes wonder, and I'm sure in Pakistan there are so many other pressures that many girls, even there are people in my family who I know are suffering, but they are in relationships because number one, they do not have the support of their family like I did. So I'm not sure. I think I guess my parents, my father and my I lost my mother 15 years ago, and I sometimes wonder if she was around, what would have been the scenario for me. Or if I was in Pakistan, I might would have been still married, you know. Yeah. I think being in this country and being on my own and I having um, no interference of irrelevant people in my life actually gave me the freedom to decide for myself, because unfortunately, even though if you get married and even if you become a mother or you have kids, um, you don't get to decide for yourself. It's people around you who will decide things for you. Whether it will be your husband or your father or your mother or your in-laws or your siblings or the peer pressure or the community, whatever. So yeah, I might have been in a the scenario might have been different if I was in Pakistan.
Someone once told me that a divorced woman in Pakistan, it's a horrible thing to be. So that's why I asked.
Um, yeah, because I since like I said, I have not been in Pakistan in the last 9 years, so I get the pulse of the or the tempo of the country or the people through Facebook or through social media, and I have seen people being very cruel and very disrespectful of single mothers or independent women, and they talk about how they dress up and everyone is ready to point fingers at you or say negative things about you because no one is focusing on their own life. It's very easy to look at the neighbors and see what they are doing, because that lets you not see that what is the current state of affairs in your own home. So yeah, I mean, this is something that I'm glad that I'm not part of that society anymore. Nobody over here. I mean, I'm sitting and talking to you right now. I have two patio doors. I have large bay windows, and I know that nobody from outside is staying inside. I don't have my curtains on. But over there in Pakistan, there would be a crowd outside if they see me sitting by the window and without curtains on, eh, at night. So yeah, things are things are different there. That's for sure.
Don't you miss Pakistan a little?
I do. I miss Pakistan because I grew up there. I miss the my city. Lahore is a very old, very traditional, very cultural city with lots of wonderful architecture, and I have memories there. And I miss my brothers. I miss my nephews and nieces, and I miss being in my house. But then I don't see myself moving there or living there anymore.
Do they come visit you?
Yes, they do. Yes. My father is actually he got his immigration, so he comes and he stays couple of months here every year with me. And my brothers were planning to be here this summer, but I don't know how with this COVID-19 situation if they will be allowed to travel or what will be the travel arrangements. But if things improve, they will be here at the end of this summer.
Which would be really nice for you.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be so great. They will be here, my nephews and nieces, so the entire families will be here. Both of my brothers, I'm the eldest one in the family, and both of my brothers are married. Both of them are PhD doctors. One is an economist, the other one is in wireless telecommunications. So I'm really looking forward to, and I'm hoping that things improve so they can come here.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What is the most You've had a very eventful life. What is the most wonderful part of your life that you have?
Well, I have so many good memories. I was so fortunate to grow up in a joint family system. I was living in a household where almost there were 20 people. My uncles and my aunts. We had a big house with trees outside, and we would get up early in the morning and we would climb up on the mango trees and trying to get the mangoes from the trees. And I had a wonderful, wonderful childhood. That is something that I really cherish. And then again, the exposures that my parents exposed us to or let us have. Um, my father and my mother, they worked, both of them were working. My mother was a professor, and my father is an economist, so they both worked very hard, but then they made sure that we had our share of fun, so they would take us to places and we would see the world. And I mean, not the world, I didn't have any international travel before getting married, but within Pakistan I almost saw all the corners. I mean, I've been to many places in Pakistan. So those are my wonderful memories. Then also coming here, and uh, doing my studies, and then having my kids. um, if I look back at my life, I have more good than the what I can say, the mishaps or bad experiences. And I think I the experiences that I had, both good and bad more, made me a better person because I learned from them. I have always been a very curious person, so and I analyze, I think about it, and when I think about it and I process information, I process my experiences. Even when my mother passed away, and I was devastated, and I went into this severe depression. Um, but then again, I was able to find the silver lining in her passing away. And her passing away actually gave me the courage to value my own life and to realize that um, how helpless we are, because you can have all the money in the world, but when you get sick, nothing helps. If it's your time to go, you will go. So losing her actually was the turning point in my life, when I started to see the value of life. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm not just going to pass my life or pass my time here. I'm going to live my life.
That's very
So
beautiful.
thank you. Thank you. Please kindly let us know that what drives you strong. Um, Abbas, what drives me strong? Well, when you stand in front of mirror and you look at yourself, you should be proud of yourself. You are a person who have survived all these years, and I'm sure every one of us, whether it's you, me, or Carla, or anyone listening, we had our shares of ups and downs. So any little accomplishment, give yourself a pat on the shoulder that you have made it so far. And tomorrow is going to be another day. And then there are relationships in life, and there are things that you want to do in life. All of those should be your sources of inspiration. Inspiration gives you strength. Hope gives you strength. A better day tomorrow gives you strength. So, and then your memories and your dreams, you can make them your sources of strength to push yourself forward and to reach out for what you want in your life. So, and you can use your faith. Definitely, you can use your faith as a source of strength for you. Your good relationships, people around you, your family, your friends, they're all your sources of strength. And most of all, you yourself. It all starts here, right? It all starts here. I take my world with me wherever I go. Thank you very much, Zafrullah Saab. Thank you so much. Good to see you
Very
here.
beautiful comment. Another nice one.
Thank you. Thank you, Abbas.
You're
Thank you.
being definitely appreciated for what you're saying. When I spoke to you and you said, I have nothing to share, I knew that wasn't true. And I want you to know that people are watching and people are finding some really cool things to say about you
Thank you.
and
Thank
that
you.
they appreciate you. See,
Thank you.
these interviews are not because you did something really great.
Mm,
It's because you're a person and you're telling your story, and everyone has a story to tell,
absolutely.
and everyone
Absolutely.
has a story that makes them who they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you need to be
Yeah,
proud of it and not say, I have nothing to give. You have everything
absolutely.
to give.
Yeah, yeah. When I got separated and I was working three jobs, my father was very worried about me, and knowing that I don't have a family here anymore, and I mean, and not anymore. I don't have a family to begin with, and I was alone by myself with my two kids. He was like, "How are you managing this?" I mean, and I could sense the concern in his voice, and I told him, I said, "Listen, I have been in this country for almost 20 years now. Well, at that point, it was like 15 years. And I said, I have seen women who work till the last day till the day before their due date. Okay. I have seen women who have no choice but to get up in the morning, get their kids ready, drop the kids off at the daycare, and then go to work. And I have also seen women in Pakistan, like the maids who work at home, they do not have the luxury of staying home if they are not feeling well. So what I am going through is nothing remarkable. Any person who would be put to in a situation which is difficult, and especially a mother who knows that she has to take care of her two kids, will do the best possible thing that she can do under the circumstances to make sure that her kids are taken care of. And so I told him, I said, you should all the time and all the effort that you guys, both you and my mother, invested in us in terms of our upbringing. Now is the time for me to show it. So have confidence in me. I will go through this, and don't even feel sorry for me for a minute, because I am not sorry. Even though things are difficult, but when I come home and I open up from a three-bedroom house, I went to a one-bedroom apartment, and me and my kids slept on the floor for the next 3 years because the room was so small and we couldn't get a bed, and three people could only sleep if we had mattresses on the floor. Um, uh, but then when I open up the door of my apartment, there is this peace that comes in me. That's my place. I am safe here. I'm not in any kind of psychological or trauma anymore. I'm at peace. I'm in a very happy place. And this is something that I my kids saw in me as well. I never had these frowns on my forehead. Oh my God, life is so tough, or I would be crying, or no such thing. I told them, I said, listen, when life throws lemons at you, made a damn good lemonade out of them. When I was teaching as a teacher aide of with a student, special gifted student, I he never had any aide with him for more than few weeks. With me, he stayed 2.5 years. And when I started working as a sales associate in Carter's, the clothing store here, my very first month, I got the Customer Appreciation Award. So I told my kids, I said, whatever you do in your life, whatever, whether it's a paid job or you volunteer, do your best. That's it. Do your best. So and they saw that in me, and they now I'm very glad that I taught them a valuable lesson, and I know that what they have gone through and what they have persevered. Um, I have great confidence in both of my kids that if life will get tough, they will know what to do because they have an example right in front of them. They lived through that. They saw me. And this is something that um, I think as a mother, I feel very happy about that. I think my kids are prepared for the world ahead, because the world for them is not going to be easy. I was lucky. I was fortunate. But for these kids, for this generation, it's cutthroat. It's very competitive world out there. And they need to have these life skills.
And that's why we need to teach our children
Yes.
to be strong in themselves more
Absolutely.
so than memorize how many states are in the United States.
Absolutely. 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 It's all about the attitude, it's all about the attitude, Carla. Now they say that all the big employees, when they look at your performance, and even when they did the studies on employees' performance, they saw that their soft skills, their attitude towards their work, their social intelligence, their compassion and empathy towards other contributed almost 80% to their job performance. And only 20% were the skills, the hard skills.
Right.
So, and all of that, the soft skills, you cannot teach people soft skills. You can teach people soft skills when you let them experience more, the more interactions you have with people, and people of different cultures, people of different faiths, people of different stature. I never, when my I was raising my kids, I never had them, have this kind of pampering that no, I mean they can sleep on the floor, they can sleep on a bed, they can sleep with a pillow, they can sleep without a pillow. So this is how I raised them. And they are independent now. They are 17 and 14. They take care of their own things. Um, and I told them, I said, now it's the time for me to get my nails done that I've never done before, and which means that I'm not going to touch the dishes anymore. So I don't do the dishes in my house anymore. That's my kid's job now. One of them needs to empty the dishwasher. The other one is going to put the dishes in, which means that if I get my the manicure done, I don't touch the dishes. So so yeah, I mean you have to prepare your kids. You cannot keep them
Right.
tucked away, under your love and your maternal love. And I still know people and mothers who their kids are in the college and they are cooking for them, and the kids are coming home with their laundries. And what it doesn't make any sense to me. You have to let them, this is not the motherly love. This is like you are suffocating them. You're not letting them flourish, because and this is a false perception of love that is in our culture somehow, that a mother is a good mother who is like feeding the kids, making those fancy 6 hour long dishes. No, I'm not going to waste time in front of my stove cooking a dish which will take 4 hours. No, I would rather be done in 30 minutes and then watch a movie with my kids. So
And that's
yeah.
what's important. Time you spend with the kids is much
Yes,
more important than anything
absolutely.
else.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yep.
And I'm I'm very happy that we got this together today.
Yeah, yeah,
We almost
finally. Yeah,
it almost didn't happen, but then we got it. But I'm
yeah.
really happy, and I hope you feel good about this now.
Yes, yes, I always do. I love interacting with people, and since I am a teacher, I know what impact a good communication can have. So, and when you are talking to people, it's not about your words, it's the entire aura, it's in your expressions, your body language, your passion. It should come through, and communication for me is a big part. I mean, I cannot be a good teacher if I'm not able to communicate well,
Right.
and if I'm not passionate about what I do or what I teach or what I am, then nobody is going to listen to me. So, so no, I always enjoy talking to people. I always love interacting with anyone. Yes, and having good conversations. Yes.
Thank you so much, Ammara, for speaking with me. We are way over 30 minutes now.
Yeah, I can see that.
I want to thank you for coming and speaking with me. I want to thank our viewers, Rehan for introducing us, and thank the Institute of Peace for sponsoring this show.
Thank you.
And with that, we are going to wave goodbye to the audience and laugh ourselves out.
All right. Have a wonderful night. Good night.